Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my booktube channel, and today we're going to have a review on The Only Good Indians and Mexican Gothic. Let's get into it. Mexican Gothic is a story about a young woman named Naomi. Her father put her on this path to figure out what happened to her cousin. Her cousin wrote her a story that was kind of mysterious and raised some concerns for her and her family. So Naomi travels to her cousin's house and finds some very creepy things happening in this house. She's trying to explore. There are spirits in this house. There are secrets that no one is saying, and there are rigid rules that she needs to follow while being in this house. Now I want to focus first on the non-spoilers. While reading this book, I constantly thought of a couple themes, and I'll tell you what those themes are. There were themes of something possibly being unconsensual, and when I say unconsensual, it seemed that there were parts that could have been sexual assault, but in a way was not, but it was very hard to figure out what was happening. There was themes of incest. There were themes of power and control. There were themes of family and trying to figure out how to protect your family. So while reading this book, the whole time I kept thinking Naomi was the kind of character that we all need as a cousin. We all need this type of cousin. I did wish that Naomi took time to slow down a bit. I think that because she was rushing in certain parts of the book, that unsavory outcomes happened. Me trying to keep this part of the video non-spoiler. Now to spoilers. While reading this book, I was very mistrustful of Virgil and Francis. Virgil is the cousin of, I know I mixed them two up, but Virgil and Francis are brothers, and one of them is married to Naomi's cousin, and the other one is just like pretty much the taxi driver and the person who doesn't really want to be in this family. And I always get Virgil and Francis messed up. I thought I wrote it down correctly, found out I wrote it down wrong. So if you read the book, you know who I'm talking about. Naomi's cousin was having some vivid, almost like psychic dreams, but it really wasn't dreams. It was this house having this magic system that was attacking her or trying to be one with her, and it just came out in very unhealthy manners, so much to the point that everyone referred to her as being sick. She also had some mental health issues going on at the time as well. I found myself constantly worried about her. I did for a point thought that she was in on the big secret, but towards the end, I realized that she was just an innocent bystander, just so I stay in line with people's names. So Naomi's cousin, husband, right? His name is either Francis or Virgil. I don't know why I can't get them in my head correctly. However, Francis or Virgil's mother figure, Francesca, this lady was very mean. She was vile. I felt the urge to really curse her out while reading this book. She was very abrupt. She was abrasive. She was definitely the person in the house who needed a lot of control, who needed to know what was going on, and prevented Naomi from doing a lot of things. Another character I want to focus on is Howard, and he was just creepy, period. Only to stay alive and to stay youthful, he allowed and did very treacherous things to his daughters, to his siblings' daughters, to everyone in the family. It was like this cult around him that he perpetuated and started, and I found myself very upset with him. I do think the ending was still 5 stars for me. I did think that there were going to be more deaths at the end than what was given to us. However, it was a true horror story. There was definitely a mystery aspect to it as well, because Naomi had to figure out what was going on in this house. Another part, I thought that the lady who made the potion, or the type of brew that can separate you from the entity that's inside the house, I think the lady who created that brew was in on it in a way. I don't know. I just feel like she's guilty. She could have been an innocent bystander, but I feel like she was guilty. So I don't even know what to say about that one. There was one part in Mexican Gothic that really got underneath my skin, and I think it's mainly because I'm a woman and I understand how patriarchy and patriarchal systems have been used historically against women. There was a part in the book where Naomi was taking a shower, and Virgil or Francis, I can't remember his name, but he is Naomi's cousin's husband. So Naomi's cousin husband came to her while she was in the shower and attempted to perform sexual acts on her. There was some sexual things happening, but to me it felt very forced, and a lot of times Naomi's cousin husband he said things to her that implied that she wanted it, and that because she was a flirtatious and very well spoken and outspoken young woman that she deserved it. And that type of language was just too much for me. But I also think it added to the character development and really made you hate him. He was not a character that everybody needed to fall in love with, for sure. He was definitely not it. So overall, the book to me was 5 stars, and I'm really starting to like and appreciate Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and I hope to read more of her books. She has another book coming out. I don't know the name of the book right now. I had it somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but when I find that book, I will let you know about that book on another video that I'm doing, because I want to make sure I'm keeping the themes and things that I'm doing together. Now we're going to move on to The Only Good Indians. Follows 4 young men, or at the time they were young men. Long story short, they went into the woods to hunt and end up killing this elk who was pregnant. And the way they killed this elk and retrieved her kid and ripped out her organs was very brutal. And because of what they did, this retaliation occurred. While reading this book, I think it first started off with Luke. So there are 4 characters who you want to pay attention to in this book. Those are Gabe, Cass, Ricky, and Lewis. And let's be real, their stories were very heartbreaking. They all have been through some trauma. They all had interesting lives. Their partners were interesting. I think telling the story of their lives made them human to the reader, so that the reader can sympathize when the elk came for them. I will say that this book, in my opinion, was a true horror. And I say that because I was afraid the whole time. I couldn't even listen to the audiobook by myself, or if I listened to the audiobook, I had to have my back on a wall because I was washing dishes while listening to this, and it was on the part where they were talking about Cass' story, and I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then I thought I heard something behind me. It wasn't even it. However, that's how I felt. One of the most constant thoughts I had while reading this book is you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, you reap what you sow. And I really wanted to feel bad for Luke, Cass, Ricky, and Gabe, but it was really hard to, based on what they did to this elk. Now getting to the spoilers. The most memorable part of this book was the opening, and I think it started off with Luke and Luke at the bar. How quick that happened was very shocking, and it definitely had me thinking, like, not even thinking, just blinking in pure awe and stuck on how quick that situation happened. And then when we got to Gabe, but we learned about Gabe throughout the whole book, right? Gabe was introduced in pockets throughout the whole book. And Gabe history with alcoholism and his child and what happened with his child and how manipulative the elk was and how calculated she was and how she plotted and literally hunt them down like they hunted her down. Just that reciprocal toxicity that was happening was just, it was brilliant. I don't even know the way to say it. I think Stephen Graham Jones is one of the best horror writers I've ever heard of, that I ever gotten the privilege to read and listen. And I'm so stuck on his writing that I have also checked out other books to read from him as well. There's a book that I want to read called Mongrels, and I cannot wait for that to come into my library and come into my hand. So I want to give you guys just a quick reading on the book Mongrels that I'm going to read. Stephen Graham Jones' Mongrels goes beyond your typical werewolf story to show a young boy mired in poverty and always on the run, coming of age in a world that fears him and hates his family, but may just be more monstrous than he could ever be. He was born an outsider like the rest of his family, poor yet resilient. He lives in shadows with his Aunt Libby and Uncle Darren, folk who stubbornly make their way into a society that does not understand or want them. They are mongrels, mixed blood, neither this nor that. The boy at the center of Mongrels must decide if he belongs on the road with his aunt or uncle, or if he fits with the people on the other side of the tracks. For 10 years, he and his family have lived a life of late-night exit and narrow escapes, always on the move across the South to stay one step ahead of the law. But the time is drawing near when Darren and Libby will finally know if their nephew is like them or not, and the close calls they've been running from for so long are catching up fast now. Everything is about to change. A compelling and fascinating journey, Mongrels alternates between past and present to create an unforgettable portrait of a boy trying to understand his family and his place in a complex and unforgiving world. So there you have it. I am ready. I'm ready. I was ready yesterday. And this isn't actually horror, it's more fantasy fiction, but I'm ready. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to dive in and check out other works by Stephen Graham Jones. So there you have it. Those are my two quick and to the point kind of reviews on The Only Good Indian and Mexican Gothic. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and put a cute little emoji in the comment section if you were just watching and don't have anything to say. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.